My predator mother-in-law flirted with every boyfriend I had, until I started dating her son's parole officer. My name is Jessica, and I need to tell you about the most twisted family dynamic I've ever been part of. And trust me, I've seen some messed up stuff in my 32 years. It started when I was 24 and dating this guy named Marcus. Nice guy, worked in IT, had his own apartment, normal stuff. We'd been together maybe 3 months when he asked me to meet his mom, Linda. I should have known something was off when he got this weird look on his face while asking, like he was scared and resigned at the same time. Linda answered the door in a silk robe at 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday. She was 51 at the time, but she'd had work done. A lot of work done. The kind where you can't quite pin down what's different, but everything looks just slightly off, like a filter on reality. "You must be Jessica," she said, and her eyes went straight past me to Marcus. Then she actually licked her lips. I'm not kidding. She licked her lips while looking at her own son. I should have run right then. We sat down for lunch, and within 10 minutes, Linda had positioned herself so close to Marcus that I was basically squeezed to the edge of the couch. She kept touching his arm, laughing at everything he said. At one point, she actually fed him a strawberry. I watched this happening, and my brain couldn't process it. This was his mother, his actual mother. Marcus looked mortified, but also kind of numb to it. Like this was just how things were. Then Linda turned her attention to me. "So Jessica, what do you do?" "I'm a graphic designer." "Oh, how cute." She said it like I just told her I made friendship bracelets for a living. "Marcus needs someone more substantial. Don't you think, baby?" She called her son baby. While stroking his thigh, we left 20 minutes later. I didn't bring it up in the car because I didn't even know how. "What do you say?" "Hey, your mom was basically trying to seduce you in front of me?" "That sounds insane." But it got worse. Linda started showing up at places. The coffee shop near my apartment where Marcus and I would meet. The restaurant where we had our first date and kept going back to. The gym where Marcus worked out, and every single time she'd be dressed to kill. Tight dresses, low-cut tops, heels that could double as weapons. She'd spot us, act all surprised, and then insert herself into whatever we were doing. The worst part? She'd flirt with Marcus right in front of me, touching him, making innuendos, batting her eyelashes. And when she wasn't flirting with her own son, she'd turn that energy on me in this weird, competitive way, like she was showing me how it was done. 3 months later, Marcus and I broke up. He said it wasn't working out. I knew the real reason. His mom had gotten in his head, or maybe she'd always been there and I was just the latest casualty. I didn't date for a while after that. The whole thing had left me feeling dirty and confused. Then I met Ryan. Ryan was different. He was a contractor, built like he actually used his muscles for real work, not just gym selfies. Confident, funny. He had his own house and a dog named Brutus. We clicked immediately. 4 months in, he mentioned his mom was having a birthday party and wanted to meet me. I got a bad feeling in my stomach. "What's your mom's name?" "Linda. Linda Patterson." My blood went cold. "Does she have another son named Marcus?" Ryan's face changed. "Yeah, how do you know that?" I told him everything. Every detail. The robe, the strawberry, the touching, the showing up everywhere. By the end, Ryan looked pale. "She did the same thing to Marcus's last girlfriend," he said quietly. "And the one before that, he doesn't date anymore because of it. Why didn't you warn me?" "I didn't know you dated Marcus. And honestly, I thought maybe with me it would be different. We're not that close. I barely see her anymore." That should have been another red flag. When a grown man says he barely sees his mother, there's usually a reason. But I was already invested in Ryan. I really liked him. So I agreed to go to the party, but I made him promise we'd leave the second she started any weird behavior. The party was at Linda's house. She answered the door in a dress so tight I don't know how she breathed. When she saw me, her smile faltered for just a second. Then it came back, bigger and faker than before. "Jessica." "What a surprise." "Hi, Linda." She gave Ryan a hug that lasted way too long, pressing herself against him in a way that made several party guests look uncomfortable. Then she pulled back and actually adjusted his collar while staring into his eyes. "You look so handsome, sweetheart. Doesn't he, Jessica?" "He does. But then again, both my boys are gorgeous." "Good genes." She winked. The party was a nightmare. Linda made sure to position herself between Ryan and me at every opportunity. She'd pull him aside to show him something, always touching him, always leaning in too close. When he tried to step away, she'd pout and make comments about how her own son didn't want to spend time with her on her birthday. Other people at the party seemed oblivious. Or maybe they just didn't want to acknowledge what was happening. Denial is powerful. I was getting myself a drink when I felt someone beside me. It was Marcus. "I'm sorry," he said. "For what?" "For not warning you about mom when we were dating. I thought if I just didn't talk about it, maybe it would be different with you." "It's okay. It's not okay. She ruins everything." He looked exhausted, like the weight of his mother's behavior had been crushing him for years. "She's already doing it to Ryan, isn't she?" I nodded. "You should get out now, before it gets worse." But I didn't listen, because a week later Ryan proposed. I said yes because I loved him and I thought we could handle his mom together. I thought our relationship was strong enough. I was so stupid. The wedding planning was a horror show. Linda inserted herself into every decision. She'd call vendors and change things without asking me. She'd show up at dress appointments and tell me which dresses made me look fat. She'd corner Ryan and cry about how his wedding was making her feel old and unwanted. And she started doing this thing where she'd make comments about how Ryan could do better, how he was settling, how I wasn't sophisticated enough for the Patterson family. The Patterson family, by the way, consisted of Linda, her 2 sons, and her ex-husband who'd fled to Arizona and refused to speak to any of them. 1 month before the wedding, I found Linda in my apartment. I'd given Ryan a key, and apparently he'd been careless with it because there she was, sitting on my couch, going through my wedding planner. "What are you doing here?" "Just wanted to see what you were planning for my son's big day." She smiled. "These flowers are all wrong. Ryan hates roses." Ryan picked those roses with me. Well, he was probably just being polite. You know how he is. Always trying to make people feel better about their bad choices. I called Ryan immediately. He was furious. He drove over, confronted his mother, took back his key. She cried and said she was just trying to help, that she was going to lose her baby boy, that I was taking him away from her. Ryan told her she was the one pushing him away and that she needed therapy. She stopped crying immediately. Her face went cold. "You'll regret this," she said, looking at me. "We got married anyway." The ceremony was beautiful. Linda wore white, actual white, to her son's wedding, and she positioned herself in every family photo like she was the bride. The marriage lasted 8 months, not because Ryan and I didn't love each other, but because Linda made it impossible. She'd call at all hours. She'd show up unannounced. She'd fabricate emergencies to get Ryan to come over, and when he did, she'd answer the door in lingerie or a towel or nothing at all. Ryan would come home shaking, upset, disgusted, but also somehow unable to fully cut her off. She's my mother, he'd say. I can't just abandon her. She's not acting like a mother. I know, but knowing didn't change anything. I filed for divorce on a Tuesday morning. Ryan cried. We both cried. We loved each other, but Linda had poisoned everything. She'd won. I moved back to my parents' house for a while. I was 31, divorced, and completely broken. My mom held me while I cried and said, some people are just toxic. Some families are just cursed. I didn't date for 2 years after that. Then I got a job at a design firm in the city, moved into a new apartment, and decided to try again. His name was James. He was a teacher. Thoughtful, gentle, good with kids. We met at a bookstore. Very wholesome. 8 weeks in, I learned his last name was Patterson. I actually laughed, like a slightly unhinged laugh that made James concerned. Are you related to Linda Patterson? His face told me everything. She's my aunt. My dad's sister. I told him the whole story. All of it. Both relationships. The weird behavior. The divorce. By the end, James looked sick. I'm so sorry, he said. Aunt Linda is, yeah, the whole family knows she's messed up. That's why nobody talks to her except Marcus and Ryan, and even they try to avoid her. This is insane. How do I keep meeting men related to this woman? It's a small city. It wasn't that small, but I really liked James, and he seemed normal, and his connection to Linda was distant enough that I thought maybe, finally, this could work. We dated for 6 months. Linda never found out. James made sure of it. He didn't tell his cousins about me. He kept our relationship off social media. We were like secret agents. It was exhausting, but also kind of exciting. Then James got a new job in Seattle. He asked me to come with him. I should have said yes immediately. This was my chance to escape Linda's orbit entirely, to start fresh somewhere she couldn't reach. But I hesitated. My family was here. My job was here. My whole life. I need to think about it, I told James. He gave me 2 weeks. During those 2 weeks, I ran into Marcus at a grocery store. He looked terrible. Thin, tired, like he hadn't slept in weeks. Are you okay? I asked. Not really. He laughed bitterly. Mom's been worse lately. Ryan doesn't see her anymore at all. He changed his number. So she's focused everything on me. Marcus, you need to get away from her. I know. I'm trying. My therapist says he stopped. Never mind. What? Nothing. I'm in a bad place right now. That's all. We talked for a few more minutes. He told me he'd been arrested 3 months ago. DUI. He'd been struggling with drinking as a way to cope with everything. The case was still ongoing. He had a court date coming up. My heart broke for him. This woman had destroyed both her sons. I went home and called James. I told him yes. I'd moved to Seattle with him. He was so happy. We started making plans. I gave notice at my job. I started packing. Then, 1 week before we were supposed to leave, James called me crying. I can't do this, he said. What? Why? Linda found out. She called my dad. She told him I was abandoning the family. She made this huge scene. She said you're some kind of predator who targets her family. My dad believes her. He said if I move to Seattle with you, I'm cut off from the whole family. James, she's lying. You know she's lying. I know. But my dad, he's my dad. I can't lose my whole family. We broke up over the phone. I didn't even get to see him one last time. I was so tired. So done with everything. I stopped trying to date. I threw myself into work. I adopted a cat. I became that person. Months passed. I was okay. Not happy, but okay. Then I got a call from Marcus. I hadn't heard from him in almost a year. Jessica, I need a favor. What kind of favor? Can you come to my court hearing? I know it's weird to ask, but I don't have anyone else. Mom will be there, and I need someone on my side. I didn't want to go. I didn't want to see Linda ever again. But Marcus sounded so desperate, and I knew what it was like to feel alone because of that woman. Okay, when is it? The courthouse was exactly as depressing as you'd imagine. Gray walls, fluorescent lights, uncomfortable benches. Linda was there, dressed in all black like she was attending a funeral. When she saw me, her eyes narrowed. What are you doing here? Marcus asked me to come. Of course he did. You've probably been sleeping with him behind Ryan's back this whole time, haven't you? I didn't respond. There was no point. The hearing was quick. Marcus got probation, community service, and mandatory counseling. He also had to report to a parole officer monthly. After it was over, Marcus hugged me tight. Thank you for coming. Of course. Linda stormed over. Don't think this changes anything. You're still a predator. You're still trying to steal my boys. Linda, I'm not trying to steal anyone. I just came to support Marcus. Support. She spat the word. You don't know what real support is. I'm their mother. I'm the one who's always been there for them. You're the one who destroyed them, I said. Everything stopped. People nearby turned to look. Linda's face went white, then red. How dare you? It's true. You've ruined every relationship they've ever had. You've made them feel guilty for wanting normal lives. She slapped me. Right there in the courthouse hallway, in front of everyone. Security guards rushed over. Linda was escorted out, screaming about how I'd attacked her, how I was trying to turn her sons against her, how the whole world was against her. Marcus stood frozen, watching his mother being led away. I'm sorry, he whispered. It's not your fault. But maybe it was. A little. He'd never stood up to her. Ryan had tried and failed. James had chosen his family over me. All of them had been trapped by her manipulation, and nobody had ever really fought back. A man in a suit approached us. 30s, dark hair, kind eyes. Are you Marcus Patterson? Yes. I'm Owen Torres. I'll be your parole officer. He looked at me. Are you all right? That looked like it hurt. I'm fine. Owen had this presence about him, calm but authoritative, like someone who'd seen bad situations before and knew how to handle them. You might want to consider filing a police report about the assault, he said to me. I don't know if it's worth it. It's always worth standing up to abusive people. He glanced at Marcus. No offense about your mother. None taken. She is abusive. Owen and I talked for a few minutes while Marcus filled out some paperwork. Owen was easy to talk to. He didn't judge. He just listened. Before I left, he gave me his card. In case you change your mind about that report. I didn't think I would, but I kept the card. 2 weeks later, I ran into Owen at a coffee shop. Complete coincidence. We both laughed about it, and he asked if he could buy me a coffee. We talked for 2 hours. He told me about his job, how he got into it, why he stayed with it even though it was hard. I told him about my work, my cat, my life. I didn't mention Linda. I didn't mention Marcus or Ryan or James or any of it. It felt good to just be Jessica, not the girl who'd been terrorized by her mother-in-law, not the victim in that family's drama. Just me. Owen asked for my number. I gave it to him. We started texting, then talking on the phone, then going on dates, real dates, normal dates, movies, dinners, walks in the park. He was funny and smart, smart and had his life together. He had a healthy relationship with his own mother. He had friends. He had hobbies. He was exactly what I needed. 3 months in, I knew I had to tell him the truth. About Linda, about Marcus being his parolee, about all of it. We were at his apartment having dinner when I finally said it. I need to tell you something about Marcus Patterson. Owen put down his fork. Okay, I told him everything. The whole twisted saga. All 3 relationships. The weird, incestuous energy. The manipulation. The slap. How I'd met Owen at the courthouse that day. When I finished, Owen was quiet for a long moment. So you're dating your ex-husband's brother's parole officer, he finally said. Yes, he started laughing. Not mean laughter, just genuine, surprised laughter. That's the most complicated thing I've ever heard. Are you mad? Why would I be mad? You didn't do anything wrong. This Linda woman sounds like a nightmare. She is. And you really think she'll freak out if she finds out about us? Oh, I know she will. She'll lose her mind. Owen smiled. Good. That surprised me. Good? Jessica, I see cases like this all the time. Toxic parents who destroy their kids' lives. Most of the time, nobody stands up to them. Everyone just enables the behavior because it's easier than confronting it. He took my hand. But you've tried to stand up to her. You've tried to help Marcus and Ryan and James. That takes courage. I don't feel courageous. I feel exhausted. That's because you've been fighting alone, but you're not alone anymore. Something shifted in me in that moment. For the first time in years, I felt like maybe I could actually win against Linda. Not by avoiding her or running away, but by just living my life and refusing to let her control it. Owen and I kept dating. We kept it quiet at first, but eventually, inevitably, Marcus found out. I was having coffee with Marcus, one of our occasional check-ins to see how he was doing. When he asked, "So are you seeing anyone?" I hesitated. "Oh my God, you are. Who is it?" "Owen Torres." Marcus's jaw dropped. "My parole officer, Owen?" "Yes, that's actually amazing." He started laughing. "Mom is going to absolutely lose it when she finds out." "I know. Good. She deserves it. She deserves to know that she can't control everything." We talked more about it. Marcus was doing better. The therapy was helping. He'd been sober for 6 months. He'd started dating someone new, a woman who lived 2 states away and had never heard of Linda Patterson. "I'm thinking about moving," he told me. "Getting away from here, from her, starting over." "You should. Ryan did it. He's in California now, has a girlfriend. He's happy." "Really?" "Yeah. He completely cut Mom off. Changed his name, actually. Goes by Ryan Foster now, his girlfriend's last name. Mom tried to find him, but he's gone ghost. Good for Ryan, I thought. A month later, Linda found out about Owen. I don't know how. Maybe Marcus let it slip. Maybe she saw us together somewhere. Maybe she'd been stalking me this whole time and finally put the pieces together. She showed up at my apartment, pounding on the door, screaming, "Open this door. Open it right now." I called Owen. He was there in 10 minutes. When Linda saw him, her face went through about 5 different emotions. Shock, anger, disbelief, rage, and finally something that looked almost like respect. "You," she said, pointing at him. "You're sleeping with her?" "I'm dating her," Owen corrected. "There's a difference. You don't understand what she is. She's a predator. She targets my family. Mrs. Patterson, I'm going to stop you right there." Owen's voice was calm but firm. "I've read Marcus's file. I've seen the family history. I know what you've done to your sons, and I know what you've done to Jessica." Linda's mouth opened and closed like a fish. "I also know that you slapped Jessica in a courthouse hallway, which is assault." She never filed charges, which was generous of her. "But if you come here again, if you harass her again, if you even look at her wrong, I will make sure that assault charge gets filed. Do you understand me?" Linda looked at me. For the first time ever, there was something other than smugness or manipulation in her eyes. There was fear. "This isn't over," she said. "Yes," Owen said quietly. "It is." She left. I stood there shaking. Owen put his arms around me. "Is it really over?" I asked. "With people like her? Maybe not completely, but you've got backup now. And I'm not going anywhere." Linda did try a few more times. She called. She sent letters. She even hired a private investigator to dig up dirt on Owen, which backfired spectacularly when the investigator found nothing and told Owen about being hired. But slowly, her attempts got weaker, more desperate, more pathetic. Marcus moved to Colorado. He sent me a postcard saying he'd met someone, a therapist actually, who understood family trauma. They were taking it slow. Ryan stayed in California. I never talked to him again, but I heard through Marcus that he was engaged. His fiancée had never even heard of Linda. James texted me once, months later. "I'm sorry I wasn't brave enough. I'm glad you found someone who was." Owen and I got engaged after a year and a half together. No drama, no interference, just us making a decision about our future. We kept it small, just family and close friends. Owen's mom was there. She was lovely, normal. She welcomed me with open arms and didn't try to seduce her own son, which was refreshing. Linda wasn't invited. She found out anyway and tried to crash the wedding. Security escorted her out before she even got close. Standing there at my reception, watching her being led away while I held my new husband's hand, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not because Linda had finally given up, but because I had finally stopped giving her power over my life. Owen leaned down and whispered in my ear, "Want to know something funny?" "What?" "Marcus just texted me. He got a new job, completely out of state. He's officially done with probation early because he's been doing so well. He's free. We were all free." Linda sent one final letter 3 months after the wedding. I almost didn't open it, but curiosity won. Inside was a single sentence. "You took everything from me." I showed it to Owen. He read it and shook his head. "She still doesn't get it," he said. "She lost them because of what she did. Not because of you." He was right, but I wrote back anyway. Just one sentence. "They were never yours to lose." I never heard from her again. Last I heard, Linda was living alone in that same house, still convinced she was the victim in all of this. Still telling anyone who would listen about how her evil daughter-in-law stole her sons away. The thing is, I didn't steal anyone. I just existed. I just tried to have normal relationships. I just refused to play along with her twisted games. And in the end, that was enough. Marcus is thriving now. He's been sober for 3 years. He's engaged to his therapist girlfriend. They're talking about having kids someday, and he jokes that he's going to be the world's most aggressively normal father, just to spite Linda. Ryan is married. Owen and I went to the wedding last year. It was beautiful. Ryan looked happy. Really, genuinely happy. His wife had no idea about any of this history, and he wanted to keep it that way. A fresh start. James is still single as far as I know. He sends a Christmas card every year with a handwritten note apologizing apologizing again. I've told him he doesn't need to, but I think he needs to forgive himself more than I need to forgive him. And me? I'm sitting here in the house Owen and I bought together, writing this whole thing out because someone asked me at a party how I met my husband, and the answer was too complicated to explain casually. Oh, he's my ex-husband's brother's parole officer. Doesn't quite capture the full story. But if I'm being honest, the real story isn't about Linda at all. It's about refusing to let toxic people define your life. It's about finding people who support you instead of sabotaging you. It's about having the courage to keep trying even when it feels like the universe is playing a sick joke on you. It's about the fact that sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's just living well. And I'm living very, very well.